Yeah, we got Matt here from
Yep.
Market Rocket.
Hi.
It's great to have you here.
Yeah, great
today.
to be here.
Yeah, it's been
Thank
a
you
great
for
day
having
so
me.
far. We've been talking about Amazon, the evolving marketplace that it is, that it's getting more competitive, but it also offers more opportunity.
Yep.
What are you seeing with your clients that's really helping them be successful in this more challenging but more rewarding marketplace?
Yeah, I think as ever, I think it comes down to margin. You shared some amazing data earlier on the sort of decline in active sellers, but the opportunity is growing, and I think that's down to a lot of it's down to margin. I think a lot of people that kind of came into the industry, we've used the term back bedroom sellers for quite a while in the industry, and I think that time has sort of come on that, and I think actually creating products and staying in the market for a long time, which again your data suggested it's not just about time in the market, it's about time in the market, and I think that's really coming to the fore. And I think brands who have good products with good margin, have good supply chain, can sort of last out these sort of temporary humps and attacks from sort of lower profit model sellers, and I think that's where the industry's going. I think that's a lot where our clients are seeing success, is also taking back their brand as well. So we've worked with many different brands over the last few years, whereby they've got maybe 10, 20 resellers, or even 2 or 3, but that you can't have a cohesive advertising strategy and really dominate Amazon unless you've got a plan, a strategy. One seller having the buy box, optimized content, now optimized for Rufus, advertising. 100% of what you see when you type anything in is advertising. So whenever you're diluting your brand with different sellers, then you're going to lose out on that. So I think we've seen a bit of a kind of reclaim your brand.
It's so true what you say, because it's evolved so much from that casual participation to needing those institutional capabilities. And you talked about all in one together. You can't just be good at creative. You can't just be good at advertising. You can't just be good at SEO. You've got to do it all.
No, exactly. And like I was saying that, I've been doing this for 17 years. You wouldn't want me writing any copy or doing any graphic design, but, I'd like to have a go at the advertising, and some of the account management I'm pretty good at. But, you need those disciplines, and fundamentally it's different people with different skill sets. And I think a lot of brands are waking up to that. You can't just employ someone to do Amazon. It just doesn't work. You need this multidisciplinary approach. I think people that are investing in that, brands that are investing in that, are starting to see the rewards of it. But again, it's not just over a 3, 6, 9, 12-month period. You need to do this over a sustained period to get to top of category and stay there ultimately.
You talked a lot about brand there. And one of the data points we talked about today is the rise in Chinese sellers and the margin compression that brings with it. What are some of the things your clients are doing to establish that strong brand awareness that helps protect that margin a little bit?
Yeah, I think an off-Amazon presence has to start to come into that. Ultimately, these Chinese sellers, Chinese brands, are not doing anything off Amazon whatsoever, by and large. So I think brands that can start to look at, TikTok or even out of home, various different aspects that resonate more with consumers and do a lot more upper funnel activity, even on sponsored brands and things like that on Amazon, or Fire TV now, a DSP, I think starts to resonate with consumers. And I think during that 13-page detail page view period that people go through before they transact, I think when brand awareness has been there at the start of that, or in that journey, I think it then comes through for conversion and through the sale. And I don't think Chinese sellers have that upper funnel approach. I think it is very much lower consideration, conversion, try and get the sale, and not.
Yeah, and it's interesting because I think that you see there again where it lends itself to more institutional capabilities. Smaller sellers will struggle with that because of the budgets of running top of funnel. This is changing market.
It's a different mindset. It's about, depending on the product, whether it's a considered purchase or not. And I think looking at whether you are able to invest upfront for a return later on. Be that an unprofitable sale on a repeat purchase or a subscription later down the line. Looking at the lifetime value of a customer versus single purchase of a product, I think is critical. But as you say, sort of small businesses don't necessarily have the appetite or the funding to be able to do that. So I think that's where a lot of big brands can learn from that and start to actually combat these Chinese sellers with Chinese products with actually their long-standing heavily more branded products with the upper funnel advertising.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and you talked a little bit there about off of Amazon. And are you seeing a change of role for the Amazon marketplace? Because we're seeing more people discover products on maybe TikTok, discover them on their own website, and then come into Amazon as the trusted.
I think So I think people want to consume content these days, which is a good thing in theory, but also attention spans are shorter than ever. Yeah. And I think Amazon have obviously tried to make more of a play towards automatic video play on mobile scroll, advertised video, Prime TV. Yeah. So I think they're being able to piggyback that kind of content consumption, but at the same time, it needs to be well thought out content. You can't just, it's like people who start a video with their logo. Well, the logo's already on the sponsored brand advertising, so don't make people switch off within the first 2 seconds. So again, I think it's kind of not just doing things to tick a box. Yeah. You said a decade ago, it's a case of listing against an ASIN and everything else. Whereas now we've gone through the period of just doing A+ is not good enough. Just doing a video isn't good enough. It's got to be good quality. And I think being able to cross-sell and upsell as well, I think is something where brands with maybe a multi-catalog product set are able to then sort of use advertising quite smartly to be able to increase basket value or increase number of products or whatever it might be.
For profitability,
yeah.
Good. And then just to finish up, we talked a bit today about international expansion. Yeah. What's your feelings on that? Do you find resistance with clients on that? How are you feeling?
Yeah, I think it comes down to taxes and tariffs, to be perfectly honest with you. I think there's also potentially a big cost of business if it doesn't work. Yeah. So, if people are committed to maybe translations or different packaging, putting stock into different fulfillment centres, it can be quite a costly exercise if it doesn't work. Yeah. I appreciate that, Pan-EU is in place, but I think sometimes people get a little bit lost. I don't think it's quite as simple as it could be, if you like. We actually was on the pilot program for Pan-EU back in the day when it first started. That's where the grey hairs come from. But I don't think it's quite as seamless as it still needs to be, and I think Amazon's hands are tied to a certain extent with that, with the legalities of it all, and kind of a simple one-stop solution. Yeah. But I think people are just naturally cautious at the minute, with tariffs changing in various different territories, not just the US. It's kind of, do you want to put your capital into something that might not only might not get you a return, but might actually end up costing you to even have the product destroyed or whatever. So I think people need to do a lot more upfront, a lot more desktop investigation before they just blindly list globally. And I think sometimes that can come down to a lack of knowledge or a lack of time to be able to invest in that. So I think there's a few barriers that need to be broken.
If clients want to expand and grow revenue, where are you? If it's not international expansion, what are you recommending?
I think having a fresh look at what's selling, and the price points at what's selling. So, starting to look to go out into other categories, or maybe build a more premium product, or maybe even build a more cost-effective product, because ultimately, the categories have moved over the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 10 years. So I think having a fresh look at that, a lot of products that have been sold have been around for over a decade now. What are competitors doing? What are these Chinese manufacturers doing? And being able to kind of adapt your offering rather than just sort of being quite blinkered in, this is our product, this is what we sell, this is what we're going to sell. So I think reviewing the product set and looking at the tail, can that be chopped in favour of something else, and recycling that.
Yeah, very good. Yeah, well, it's been very insightful. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Yeah, great having us.
Thank you for your input. It's been a great day.
Okay. Cheers. Thank you, mate. Cheers.